So I'm starting off with a very normal fuzz face setting. On this one it's got volume just about unity, a little bit above. The fuzz knob is all the way rolled up, and I'm gonna just use my guitar's volume knob to control the amount of distortion. This is without the boost on. You can see it doesn't really clean up until the volume's really on about 3. It's a hybrid circuit. If it had been, all old stock germanium transistors, it probably would have cleaned up a little better. But I mean, again, this is with the fuzz knob all the way rolled up. I'll show you that it can get a lot of much better clean settings. Here it is with boost. It's going to get a little louder. Bypassed again. So as you can hear, the boost adds a lot of mids back into the circuit. They're not really taken out, but and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set it to a much cleaner setting. I'm going to roll the pregain back, which is similar to turning down your guitar's volume knob. And I'm putting that about halfway. I'll roll up the volume to compensate for the volume loss, but it can still get quite a bit above unity. And I'm going to roll the fuzz back to about 1 or 2 o'clock. And if you use normal fuzz faces, you know that rolling that back would normally cause the circuit to lose quite a lot of heft, but this is bypassed. And this is with it on. Pretty much the same. It's very clean. Got a little tiny bit of hair on it. Which you get a lot more dirt when you dig into it, so. And with the boost. So there it is as an overdrive. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna roll the bias and the volts back, and this is gonna make it sound a little darker and a little more compressed. There are settings I can put it to, and I'll show you those too, that would actually make it sputter, which is a pretty cool effect. One of my favorite overdrive pedals is the EHX Germanium OD, and this does a lot of the same things that the Germanium OD can do with its volts and bias setting, but obviously it's a lot more versatile, so that's why it ended up on my pedal board, and the Germanium OD is just sort of playing second fiddle now. One thing you'll notice when you roll the volts back, it's a little bit quieter. It also distorts a little bit more, but not a ton more. And this is one of the gated settings, so I'm just rolling the bias up. It's a little too gated. And I don't really have a use for settings like that, but it's nice to know that they're in there somewhere. And the last control that I haven't really fiddled with much is the tone knob, which is a bass cut. And I'm going to set it back to the full volts setting and bias it right. And I'm going to turn the fuzz up some, almost all the way up, and I'll leave the pregain knob at just under all the way along. So there you go. That's a very heavily trebled setting, and there's a lot more settings in here, but this demo would get out of hand if I actually showed every single possible setting this could be put on. So thanks for watching. This is, again, it's the Left Duck Pedals Winnie Fuzz. He made it as a custom for me, and Brittany did the artwork, of course. So you can find them on Facebook. They're pretty cool. So this is the Luck Duck Pedals Winnie the Pooh Fuzz, and I had him make this custom for me. The basic fuzz is his Luck Duck Fuzz, which is a modified Fuzz Face, and this just has a few extra mods. He made a boost foot switch for me, which is controlled by this knob over here, and it's a little more than just adding volume. It also adds a lot of mids into the circuit, and it's got a pregain knob. You can use that to clean up the settings. I can actually set this to be a fairly convincing cleanish overdrive. not quite a clean boost, but you know. This is the bias knob. I usually, if I'm gonna roll and this is the volts knob. If I'm gonna roll the volts knob all the way up, this is about 4.5 volts on this setting right here, and this is set to 9 volts. I actually keep the volts rolled off pretty far when I'm using it as an overdrive, because it darkens up the pedal a little bit. But when I'm using it as a fuzz, I want a lot more treble in the circuit. And it's also got a tone knob. That's this one, and this is the volume. It gets very loud for a Fuzz Face. And this, of course, is the fuzz knob, which on normal Fuzz Faces you'd leave it all the way up, but on this one, as I'm going to show you, you can roll it off and it'll still work in other settings.